Hello, book lovers. I'm back with some more book recommendations for you, and this time we're going to spotlight one of my favorite authors, Renée Watson. And I'm going to talk about her middle grade novels, or some of the middle grade novels that I've read, and in particular the first book that I read of hers that made me want to read everything she ever wrote, and that just started me on this wonderful journey of reading and devouring so many of Renée Watson's books. So the first book I read, and like I said, we're dealing with middle grade novels, is Betty Before X, story of about a 6-year period of time with in Betty Shabazz's life, long before she met Malcolm X. And the inner flap of the book says, and it says, before Betty Shabazz met Malcolm X and became a mother, educator, and world-renowned activist, she was simply a girl. In this book, inspired by real life and fictionalized through collaboration with lauded novelist Renée Watson, and Ilyasah Shabazz illuminates 4 important years in her mother's childhood. Here is an inspiring portrait of a girl overcoming challenges of self-acceptance and belonging that will resonate with young readers today as they put down their own roots in the fight for equality. So like I said, this book is written by a daughter of Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz, Ilyasah Shabazz, and with Renée Watson. And I wanted to read the dedication that Ilyasah wrote. A society is measured by the progress of its women. My father said, when you educate a boy, you teach a community. When you educate a girl, you raise a nation. I dedicate this book to his beloved wife, my mother, Dr. Betty Shabazz, whose life and the potential of every single girl inspired me to share her story with you. Like I was saying, this was the first book of Renée Watson's that I read, and I just really loved it. And I gave this book to some of my friends' kids to read, to add to their own personal library. And another book of Renée Watson's that I enjoyed, it's also a middle grade novel, is Some Places More Than Others. And this book, and it says from the inside flap, offers a heartwarming and inspiring story about the people and places that make us who we are. And one of the things that I really liked about this book, besides Amara's story, is just really fascinating as she discovers who she is. She discovers her voice, where she fits in her family, how she's trying to connect with her father's family in Harlem, New York, that she doesn't really know, but she's not sure what to expect when she does go to visit them, and just how she comes into her own. But one of the things I really enjoy about this book is towards the back, they have a couple of projects, like Renée Watson calls it the suitcase project, where it's kind of like encouraging kids to sit down with older members of their family and ask them interview questions. I mean, ask them questions about their past, just trying to make that connection between, you know, like who they are, who they could possibly be, and just their history. And so it provides some interview questions. And it also provides just writing prompts. Just like, for one, like write a letter to a person who has died. What do you want to ask them? What do you want them to know? And it gives such a wonderful list. Like, for example, make a list of the top 10 things you were thankful for. So it's really an interactive book. And then also indicates what you can include in your suitcase, like if you're traveling and maybe you're going to meet family members that you haven't seen in a while, or you've never seen, and items that you could include in your suitcase, such as a photo from your childhood, an item that represents a special place you have traveled to or would like to travel to, 2 of your favorite colors. It's just really a nice book that, you know, gets you right into the mind of middle graders, and you just feel kind of what they feel. It's an emotional book, and I just think Renée Watson is phenomenal in the writing. And the last two books that I have are a series, and they're part of the Ryan Hart series of books. Again, middle grade novels. And we have the first book in the series, which is Ways to Make Sunshine. This is like a chapter book. I wouldn't necessarily say for early readers, but it could be depending on your child's reading level. But there are amazing illustrations, black and white illustrations by Nina Mata. And forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the names or any names, but it is so cute, and it's just about like going back to school, having friends, wondering about friendships, like the ups and downs of elementary school, figuring out who you are, family life, maybe like bullying or self-consciousness. And it's just a beautiful, uplifting story of a family that comes together, of what Ryan encounters with her friends. And it's just really adorable. And it says in this first book in a series, Newbery Honor and Coretta Scott King Author Award winner Renée Watson writes her own version of Ramona Quimby, starring Ryan Hart, a girl who is pure spirit and sunshine. And the fact that there is a second book in the series that just takes the story up a notch. So Ways to Grow Love. I mean, just the titles alone are just so beautiful. Ways to Make Sunshine, Ways to Grow Love. I love the fact that I have these books in my own personal library, in addition to copies from the public library. Well, I should say the ones that I had in my personal library, I ended up gifting them to my friends' kids, because these books are just so wonderful. So we have these 4 books by Renée Watson, who's one of my favorite authors. If you've enjoyed what I'm providing with these particular book recommendations, please subscribe, because subscribe to my channel, because there's going to be some more videos coming up with some more great book recommendations.